let's talk about Christian Pulisic, the big boys now, because it's been a tough week for him. It continued. Milan knocked out of the Champions League. Then they lost to Torino in this game. Pulisic had a chance to change that, but he missed a penalty for the first time ever there in his club career, missing from the spot, so much so that he was compelled to issue an apology on social media. And Christian Pulisic is not a man of many words on social media, but that just goes to tell you the pressure that he must be feeling after this week for Milan. So calm or alarm, Herc. Seventh in the Serie A. We saw that they've just had an absolutely brutal week going out. Of course, they didn't lose to Feyenoord, but still, they went out to the Champions League, losing to Torino as well. What's going on there?
Yeah, I would say alarm for Milan and for Pulisic and for Santi Gimenez and what they're going through in Milan right now. I mean, this goes beyond the Champions League exit. If you want to go to how they got to where they were versus Feyenoord, the final match day, Dynamo Zagreb, which you would assume should be an easy game for them, they end up losing that game. Yunus Musa gets red carded. Fast forward to the tie versus Feyenoord, and they couldn't beat Feyenoord, a fifth place Dutch team who sold their best player in Santi Gimenez, lost their head coach, and lost their captain before the tie, before the fixture.
And had a whole lot of injuries.
And you couldn't beat them in 2 games, not just one. And you played so bad, and you were very fortunate that it was only 1-0 in the opening game. Fast forward to Verona. Verona is one of the worst teams in Europe, one of the worst defensive teams in Europe in the top 5 leagues, and you could only muster a goal. It was Santi Gimenez. And this is a team that in the last 4 games hasn't scored more than 1 goal. And now this is a second coach in Sergio Conceição, who's in for Paulo Fonseca, who's getting tons of pressure by the media, and they feel the need to comment on fabricated stories into the press through their social media platforms. And then you've got Zlatan, who talks to everybody, and the Curva Sur, the supporters group, are now sending Zlatan messages like, you need to change things. You need to stop talking. It's beyond alarm. This worst case scenario, they're what, 7-8 points behind Juventus right now? This is one of the worst moments that I've seen. And trust me, there have been some bad Milan moments.
Oh, yeah.
But since Christian Pulisic is there, now you can add into that boat Santi Gimenez. How will this affect him as well? It's alarm for Milan.
They're 8 points behind final Champions League spot.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not their goal. Right now, their goal is just make it to Europe, whether it is Conference League or Europa League. That's the goal right now. Because the team, it's not like they're just not playing well right now. They haven't played well for a while. They went through changing the managers. They went through a very heavy January transfer market. And the players that they brought in, Kyle Walker on loan, Joao Felix on loan, big investment on Santi Gimenez, investment more for the midterm or the future. Nobody was expecting Santi Gimenez to be the capo cannonieri in the next 3 months. But here's the most alarming part. If you take a look at their schedule, what's coming up, trying to find for those European spots, they still have to play Lazio, Napoli, Fiore, Udinese, Atalanta, Roma.
They got to play Bologna next, and it's direct competition.
It's not going to be easy. So yes, Champions League is the goal, but right now that seems like a very unrealistic goal. So it is alarming because it doesn't look like Sergio Conceição has gotten his message to the players. They're still sometimes, at some points of the games, very flat. Very, very unflat. They have really good players, Rangers, even Pulisic, that I don't know why. Maybe Sergio Conceição, they came out and said they don't have issues, right? But maybe they do, because this is a very different Christian Pulisic from 2 months ago.
Yeah, and when he was asked why Christian Pulisic doesn't play 90 minutes, he said he doesn't have the legs right now. And then the very next game, he plays 90 minutes, and it happened to be not so great 90 minutes. And then it's Christian Pulisic missing his first career penalty kick. So penalty kicks are all mental. The shooter has all the advantage in the world. It's on you to score. The goalkeeper, and Savic did a very good job here of blocking it. He misses, but it's a very good save. If you're mentally in tune, you put it in every single time. Christian Pulisic has proven to be mentally in tune. There's just something about this Milan team, something about Sergio Conceição right now and the way he wants to structure that front four, which is evident to everybody that won't work. Joao Felix, the 10th spot, doesn't look like it's a good fit. Christian Pulisic being forced to play out wide on the right. Rafa Leao, who on the left looks frustrating every time you see him, comes out at halftime. You got to assume, as Mao said, there are some personality issues at clash there. And then the injuries now. You still haven't, gotten back Loftus-Cheek. Now Kyle Walker's on the mend. It just seems to be going from bad to worse for Milan.
Well, you mentioned that front three as well. Is it just the personalities and the players that aren't clicking, or you think it just needs to be wiped from the top as opposed to dipping in the transfer market this summer?
I mean, the problem is you put basically all your hopes and your chips on a player like Rafael Leao. 2 years ago, right? We had a breakthrough season. He was one of the most looked after players in the market. And AC Milan, instead of cashing out and selling them, shipping into another team, they extend his contract. It makes a lot of money, but that's a big commitment. And they haven't seen their investment with good returns, because Rafael Leao, as talented as he is, he's very inconsistent, extremely inconsistent. So right now, when you decide the way we're going to face this last part of the season is with Rafael Leao, Pulisic that cannot give me, according to the manager, 90 minutes, Joao Felix, who has been average for the past 5 years, and then a number 9 like Santi Jimenez, who's getting his feet wet for the first time in that level of competition.
Far from a finished product. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the manager is Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Claudio Ranieri, or Sergio Conceição. You gotta develop chemistry, and that's just not gonna happen with a few games in hand. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be any easier the rest of the way.
Yeah, my worry here is the personalities at play. When this story came out of Christian Pulisic, having a face-off with Sergio Conceição because he wasn't happy, that does not sound like Christian Pulisic to me. That for not 1 second.
That sounds like Sergio Conceição, though.
That sounds like
Sergio Conceição.
That's exactly what I said. This is Sergio Conceição. Now you have in Sergio Conceição opposite of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, which is also his personality to clash. I just feel like there are a lot of big personalities here in a not so great scenario, and it could all be coming to a head.